Hello, my friends. We're here to do a video walkthrough practice quiz number 2 for Algebra 1, LT0, Fundamentals. We're going to start with integers, all right? So no calculator on these. The goal is we understand adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing positive and negative numbers. So if we want to think about a number line here that can help us on these. Right? On your quiz, you'll have a number line 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I know it's messy, but it's good enough. -3, -4, -5, -6, 7, -8. So let's start here. -3 plus -5. Now, -3 is right here in a number line. When I'm adding negatives, I'm adding negatives. To add negatives, I go further to the left, further negative, more negatives. So -3 plus -5 becomes -8. -3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ends at -8. Multiplying, 5 times -5. Positive times a negative becomes a negative. There's only one negative sign there. 5 times 5 is 25. 8 minus -4. So if I start at 8 and I take away -4, all right, taking away negatives, so if I were just to take away positives, I would go to the left. 8 minus 4 is 4. So 8 minus -4 means go the other direction. When you see minus negative, that becomes the same as 8 plus 4. Subtracting a negative is the same as adding a positive. So this becomes 12. -10 minus 5. Well, if I start at -10 and I take away 5, further to the left. Think about doing if it was 10 minus 5. 10 minus 5 would be 5. It's the same direction even if you start at -10. So -10 minus 5 becomes -15. -9 times -5, a negative times a negative becomes a positive. 9 times 5 is 45. All right. 14 divided by -7. I see a positive divided by a negative, so I know that's going to be a negative. And 14 divided by 7, 7 goes into 14 2 times. -10 minus 15, this is just like the one above it. Instead of going 5 more negative, we're going to go 15 more negative. So -10 minus 15, that's -25. -9 minus -9. Remember, this is just like -9. These two combine to be +9. And -9 plus 9 cancel each other out, which equals 0. Lastly, 5 minus 8. Again, if I start at 5, I take away 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're going to end at -3. All right. Remember, use the number line. It will help. Standard 0.2, coordinate points. Remember, for all these points, it's x, comma, y. X, comma, y. The x is first. X is left and right. Y is up and down. So I start here. -5 on the x. So I start at 0, 0, and I go -1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the left. This is the x. See the x right there? So x comes first. So I go -5, and then +4 on the y. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to put a dot there with the letter A. For B, I see a +2 on the x, the first number. So I go 2 to the right, and a +3 on the y. 1, 2, 3. So B is going to be right there. C, 0 on the x, which means I don't go left or right at all. I just stay right there in the middle. -3 on the y. So I go down 3. 1, 2, 3. So point C is down there. Lastly, for D, I see a 4 for x. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 to the right. -1 means to go down 1. So point D is right there. All right, now we're going to go the other direction. We're going to write the coordinates for each point. So what are the coordinates for A? Remember, the first part is my x value. So starting at 0, 0, how far left or right did I go to get to point A? I went 1, 2 to the right, and then I went 1, 2, 3, 4 up. So that's 2, 4. What are the coordinates of point B? Start at 0, 0. Not from A, go back to 0, 0. 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right. And then I have to go 2 down, 1, 2. So -2. Notice -2, my y value. For point C, I go 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left. So -4 for my x value. Y, I don't go up or down at all. So y is just 0. For point D, I don't go anywhere left or right. I'm just going straight down. So I go 0 units left or right. And then I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, which is -5. All right, let's flip to the back side. Standard 0.3, order of operations. So for order of operations, the way I remember it is PEMDAS. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, left to right. So what comes first? I see 12 divided by 4 times 2 minus 6. Well, let's work left to right. Do I see parentheses? No. Do I see any exponents, those little numbers up top? No. I do see multiplication and division. So those we work left to right. So first step, what do we see? We see 12 divided by 4. That's 3. I'm going to encourage you just to write out one step at a time. Next, I see 3 times 2 minus 6. I see multiplication. We do that before subtraction. So I see 6 minus 6. 6 minus 6 works out to be 0. Next one, 2 times 4 squared divided by 8 minus 3. Do I see any parentheses? No. Do I see an exponent? I do right there. That little 2 is an exponent. Squared means to multiply a number times itself. So 4 squared is 16. Again, I'm going to do one thing at a time. Multiplication and division, left to right. What do I see? I see multiplication here, division here. Left to right, 2 times 16 is 32. Do my division, 32 divided by 8 is 4, which is ultimately going to give me an answer of 1. So, last one. Do I see any parentheses? I do. I see parentheses here. So I do what's in the parentheses first. 4 minus 1 is 3. Plus 10 divided by 8 minus 3 is 5. 2 times 3, am I going to do 3 plus? Nope. I do a multiplication and division first, left to right. 2 times 3 is 6. Plus 10 divided by 5. 10 divided by 5 is 2. So this is going to work out to be 8. All right, last standard. Evaluate the expressions. This means I'm going to take this x value and I'm going to substitute it in to my expression down here and see what number does it work out to be. So for the first one, negative, I'm just going to rewrite it, but instead of x, I'm going to substitute in my value that I am evaluating for. So then I do order of operations. 2 times 5 is 10 minus 6, negative 4. Now these bars, what do those bars mean? Those are absolute value. It means we take whatever number is inside them and make it positive. It's already positive, so it just stays a 4. Don't forget about this negative in front. It's still there. So our final answer is negative 4. So what this means is when x is 5, this expression right here is equal to negative 4. Let's do another one. Again, I take this value and I substitute it in for x. So negative 6 squared. Now, think about order of operations here. Do we do multiplication first or exponents first? Exponents first. First step, square negative 6. So what's negative 6 times negative 6? Negative times a negative becomes a positive. Negative 6 squared is positive 36. But there is this negative sign out in front. We're multiplying it by negative 1. So our final answer is negative 36. Again, so when x is negative 6, this expression is equal to negative 36. Just because it's squared doesn't mean it's negative. It's negative because we square negative 6 to get positive 36 and multiply it by negative 1, that negative sign in front. All right, down here, we take the negative 2, we substitute it in to get 4 times negative 2 squared. What do we do first, 4 times negative 2 or square negative 2? Exponents first, square negative 2. Negative 2 squared is negative 2 times negative 2, which works out to be positive 4. 4 times 4 is 16. Last one, take the 2, substitute it in for x. So negative 2 times the square root of 9 times 2 plus 7. So that's negative 2 times the square root of 18 plus 7. That's negative 2 times the square root of 25. Now, what is the square root of 25? Remember, the square root of 25, what number times itself equals 25? That number is 5. We're multiplying it times this number in front. Notice there's no symbol there. It means multiply. So negative 2 times the square root of 25 means negative 2 times the square root of 5, which equals negative 10. There we go. Hope that's helpful. Good luck on your LT0 quiz.